What up, good people? So, the market is crashing, and Ukraine is definitely invading right now. It's getting crazy. My portfolio dropped like a couple $1,000s, like instantly overnight. And you know what I'm gonna tell y'all to keep doing? I'm gonna keep telling y'all to keep buying because it could be, from what the videos that I've been watching, is pretty much that Ukraine, like the markets, they plan in. The fear is when the war, there's a talk of the war, but once war starts, the market pretty much stays the same. So that's just some of the things that I've been hearing. We're gonna react to a couple videos and let's get to it.
Let's go to Sam Kiley, who is live on the ground in Kharkiv, Ukraine. Sam, tell us about what happened overnight and set the scene for us right now.
Well, Brianna and John, the attack on...
Honestly, I just want to see what some of the videos that's going on in Ukraine, because it's getting really crazy out here.
Places to shelter if the conflict comes closer to this city of at least 1.5 million people. The real estimates probably should put that more around 2 million.
So U.S. is calling it an act of war. China is saying not to call it that. It's not that, but it looks like that to me.
It's the second biggest city in the country, but it's a significant target depending on what Putin's game plan is. Is he trying to draw Ukrainian forces away from the east by that threatening move with the transporter crossing from Belarus south towards Kiev? Is he trying to do the same by threatening Kharkiv while simultaneously knocking out the wider defensive capabilities of Ukraine whilst carving off those two substantial provinces in the east?
Also, what's going on right now? They're saying that Russia's saying that Russia's saying they're only attacking military areas in Ukraine, but I think that's cap as well. My prediction for this is, for the market at least, is it might dip a little bit lower, but I can't see us going too much lower because we've already been hit so bad. This is going to cause oil and gas prices to come up, obviously a little more. But I feel like everything of all of these situations are already planned in. So they say what? Buy the rumors, sell the news. So pretty much, I don't think the market's going to continue to fall, but it's getting intense for sure.
Luhansk and Donetsk oblasts. We don't know yet exactly what the game plan is. He has insisted that he is coming into the country, sending troops in this war to protect, he says, Russians against what he's called Nazis and occupiers. And there has been in the past, of course, intelligence saying that they had lists of people that they were going to kill, capture and jail as part of this program to attack the structures, the political structures that are still running the country here. John, Brianna?
Sam, I just want to give people a sense of exactly where you are on the map here. This is Kharkiv, where you are. You were talking about Belgorod, right over the border in Russia, where we saw satellite imagery of supplies being massed yesterday. You said Frederick Pleiken heard artillery outgoing from there, and you can see it is some distance from this separatist region. Sam, any impact that you can see yet on the civilian population? Any casualties that you have heard in Kharkiv at this point?
We've got local reporting. We haven't been able to go out and confirm quite yet. We're letting things to settle down.
So that's some of the talks of them about them being attacked or whatnot. So let's see what some of the influencers in the space have to say.
So this has gotten really serious real fast. It seems that Putin is now implementing a full-on invasion into Ukraine, including bombings, tanks. We're having reports about airports being bombed, at least military airports. This is some serious stuff. Full-on invasion is in progress, I guess. And I spoke to a few people on the ground. They're scrambling. It's being taken seriously. There's somewhat of a urgency in the air right now. I have some friends in Kiev, and they're not really terrified by what's going on, but they're definitely scrambling to make sure that they have everything they need, they're protected, they're safe. It's no longer this feeling of, yeah, nothing's going to happen that we had 2 weeks ago. So I made a few videos kind of sharing with you my own opinion of why I think this invasion does not happen, even though, Putin definitely can do it. Obviously, I got it wrong. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I didn't. My call wasn't right. And it's not the first time I got something wrong. In fact, I just made a video this week titled I Was Wrong. So this is kind of becoming a habit. Maybe I should not be making predictions. But jokes aside, yeah, this is the one prediction that I really feel bad about getting wrong. I mean, maybe I got a little bit of a hopium in me for this not to happen, and it kind of sunk into my analysis. I don't know.
And boy, I didn't think this was going to happen either. And the thing that's so crazy is, I mean, obviously in the US, you won't see some of the crazy videos that are going on, but you go on TikTok and it's kind of intense.
But in this video, I'll try to break down to you exactly what's going on and what's the next, I guess, the development of the story. So when you wake up and you watch this video, unless you're awake already at 2:30 a.m. like I am, you're going to find out that everything is down. NASDAQ is down 2.5%.
Speaking of that, because I lost a lot of money, and I still got some cash, so I started buying again more, but some of the positions that I'm in, I mean, thousands of dollars, like in 24 hours. I got a chunk of change in USD coin, which I'm glad I didn't invest everything, because I'm getting interest off of that from the Crypto.com app. We got XRP down 13%. Last time I checked it, it was 66 cents. So that's down 13%. Cardano 17%. I just bought some of that at 88 cents. We got Dogecoin 11 cents. I bought some of that at 13. CRO is at 36 cents. I'm waiting for that to keep falling. It's because I want to grab some more of that so I can upgrade my card on Crypto.com to the Ruby. Tron, I lost a ton of money because of this, but still holding. And we're gonna see how this goes. Let's go, keep going. Tom.
S&P 500 is down 2%. Oil is up 7% overnight. As standard, Bitcoin is down to the mid 30s. So the entire collapse of the stock market is going to continue today, and energy is going to go up, safe havens are going to go up, and the rest of the stock market is going to feel the pain. The question is, what the hell is Putin doing? Because I said this in my videos. There's nothing to be gained from invading Ukraine for Putin. For nobody. Not for Ukraine, obviously. Not for the EU, and not for Russia. Ukraine is going to suffer the most. Loss of life. Mainly loss of freedoms, because when this is all said and done, Putin is going to replace the current democratically elected government with his own puppet regime. And this is going to be the end of independent democratic Ukraine. So that part is very sad. So loss of democracy is never good. And Putin has made a specialty out of creating loss of democracies. He's done this before. Loss of lives on both sides. I think you have 18-year-old Russian kids who are fighting on the Russian side are going to die, not understanding what the hell is going on. You have Ukrainian life loss for no reason. So why is this happening? So the EU is going to suffer from this. Energy prices are going to go up in the middle of this winter, which is going to suck. Russia is going to suffer because of this, because the EU has already put a plan in motion to diversify its energy supplies, not to be so dependent on Russia. He basically created an incentive. He lit up a fire under their ass. So for the past 20 years, the EU have been embroiled in this debate whether they should diversify gas supplies and get out of the dependence of Russia. And nobody's really done nothing about it. This is actually going to push the EU into diversifying gas supplies and basically taking away Russia's leverage over Europe, which is a big loss of leverage. It's going to basically take income and revenue away from Russia. And Over the course of the past 20 years, Russia, with Germany's decision to not go for nuclear power plants and phase out coal, Russia has become the main suppliers of energy in Europe, mainly in Germany and Italy. Now that's going to be gone. Russia pretty much galvanized the EU, that was basically torn apart after Brexit, back together. They galvanized NATO, the Western community. So they're creating this whole massive force, unified force against themselves. And not to mention the fact that nobody in Russia wants this war. There's no Russian support for this. The Russian street, from what I understand, and I have a lot of friends that I speak to on a daily basis, nobody wants Russia to invade Ukraine. It's not like Russians are much more concerned with cost of living and being able to feed their families and keep the lights on and, you know, have a good life. Nobody gives a shit about invading Ukraine. So why, despite all of this, the invasion is going on? Now, I said in my videos, the West doesn't have any leverage over Putin whatsoever.
And before he gets into talking about that, so these sanctions, I mean, everybody's obviously saying that these sanctions won't work. To put it, I watched a couple videos on this, and to put it into layman's terms, the U.S. sanctioned Russia a couple years back, and basically Russia learned from that. So Russia, before they were sanctioning them financially, and now Russia has, I want to say, the fourth largest amount of money saved, so they can basically run their government for about 2 years and not have to worry about debt or any of that stuff. And we all know the U.S. is the complete opposite of that. So let's see what Tom's got to say.
And yet, I still thought this would not have happened, because, as I just explained to you, there's nothing to gain for Putin. Putin holding Ukraine is meaningless. He already monetizes Ukraine with gas, and he basically has access to everything he needs. So taking over Ukraine is just a hassle, another headache. I don't think he needs. But the reason why I think this is happening is because he's a 70-year-old man obsessed with his own legacy. He wants to be Leninized. He wants to be kind of the next Lenin in Russian history. He wants to be the guy that's going to unify some sort of a quasi USSR 2.0. He has all the money in the world. He's probably one of the richest men on earth. He has all the clout, the influence, the women, the money, the houses, the cars.
All of that.
He has nothing yet to achieve. He's done everything. He's bored. He's old. And now he's obsessing about this religious pursuit of reunification of the former USSR. And in the process of his demented craziness, chase after this egomaniacal reunification of USSR, he's literally dragging a whole continent with him to war. And I find it insanely ridiculous. And when I look at this from a kind of human perspective, there's kids right now in Ukraine that were supposed to go to school tomorrow morning, which I doubt they can. Parents who fear for their lives, their kids' lives, their kids' safety. They're concerned about how, if the lights are going to be on tomorrow, if there's going to be food in the supermarkets. I mean, all of this crap for this man's own personal legacy, some sort of a religious struggle to reunify USSR. It's very, very sad. And the sanctions that they're talking about right now, I feel they're going to have very little impact on Putin. Don't see that happening. I mean, you can't sanction a guy that's driven on this religious mission to, you know, take everything down with him. So let's see what happens. I'm going to try to make more videos about this as this thing progresses, but I just want to come out and say that I think that what Putin is going to try to do right now is essentially try to topple this government without getting to a hand-to-hand combat on the streets of Ukraine. He'll try to put pressure by bombing military airports and military outposts, and basically try to get this government to leave so he can bring in his peacekeeping force and create free elections where he can have his figurehead take over.
First thing I thought about when I heard that he was invading Ukraine and he's trying to push people out, I'm like, why not put pressure on him? You probably can't. But if he went in my country and started bombing me, I'm going to start bombing his country too. Like, and I don't know. I mean, this whole invasion thing just started. So I can't imagine that Ukraine is stretched that thin. But you start bombing my military people, where Where I'm from, it's an eye for an eye. Like literally, you start bombing me, I'm gonna start bombing your stuff too. Like, nah, we not going anywhere. Like 48 Laws of Power, Art of War, all of this stuff. Like, hit him back. That's all I'm saying.
The longer the government stays in power and doesn't get toppled by what he's doing, the more he's going to get forced into an actual conflict in the streets, which I think he doesn't want. But let's pray for Ukraine and let's.
Well, that was sad.
Ladies and gents, welcome back to another video. Let's redo that intro. Ladies, have from the press, and then we're also going to be going over some other altcoins within the market and just talk about some pretty cool news that has happened in the markets for today. Now, first of all, guys, if you're tuning back, welcome to another video. The stream tonight is pretty late. It's 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, so a little later than we usually do. But it's because I've been spending just days upon days with my team preparing for this TED Talk that I have with regards to how the metaverse will change the world. So I've just been doing a lot into the last 7 days. It is a little bit of a bloodbath. We are seeing double-digit reds with Bitcoin currently sitting at $35,000. We also have Ethereum at $2,500. And now we're getting the bears coming out, screaming a little bit louder, talking about how a potential below $30,000 Bitcoin is on the table and how an Ethereum could slide down below $2,000. We're going to be talking about whether or not that is actually viable, possible or not. First of all, let's take a look at what's been going on today. The market actually did open up in the green, but as soon as we got word from the press talking about this article here, Ukraine president urging Russia citizens to oppose war as invasion warnings mount. This has really stirred up the markets, not just crypto, but even stocks took a very strong tumble earlier today. Take a look at this large red candlestick. If we take a look at additional data, which we'll do at the end of this stream as well, we'll be going over whether or not we're seeing some additional liquidations happening. But something we're also going to be focusing on is a report done by Kaiko, which is another research firm that I really, really enjoy reading their updates with. They do very good deep.
I just want to hear talking about with this World War III, because the title was How the Market Will Move, World War III.
You know, supposed allies of the NATO agreement. That is when we are going to see a little bit of dirt in our eyes. I do want to focus a little bit on this just because I do have a poll up too during this live stream, just talking about what's going on with the current state of, you know, a lot of these foreign countries and how this is going to affect us. What you have to know is this. Ukraine actually went ahead and shifted to a war footing, according to the Wall Street Journal. They declared a state of emergency, beginning to mobilize reservists and calling on citizens to leave Russia immediately in the midst of warnings of an imminent full-scale, invasion. Ukraine's president Volodymyr Zelensky said he tried to call Russian President Vladimir, but our boy Vladimir went ahead and ghosted him. Instead, the Ukrainian leader
left him on red.
released a video address in Russian in which he urged Russian citizens to oppose the war, which he said would lead to the death of tens of thousands. He also said that Ukraine posed no threat to Russia at the moment. So it looks like there's no formal agreement that Russia is going to invade Ukraine. They're trying to slip under the radar while this is happening because of the developments of what we've seen.
Wait, let me see if this is old, because this is, well, it says it was streamed 11 hours ago.
Within the last few years of technology, we actually are getting satellite imaging showing that Russia is moving towards Ukraine. They are building some hospitals over.
Okay, yeah, so that's kind of old. We're going to end this with my boy Jeremy, who woke me up at 3 in the morning. I mean, obviously, he didn't wake me up because I was up hanging with the lady. But, yeah, he's the first video I saw in the morning when he... Oh, well, it said Russia just attacked Ukraine. That was the first video I saw. So we'll roll a clip.
It's about to be a very busy next few days. We're going to talk about the market crash, folks. Lot going on out there with this Russia-Ukraine situation. I want to talk about here before I go to bed what's going on in the markets, what to prepare for, what I think is going to transpire here. Essentially, it's about 1:30 where I'm at. It's about 3:30 on the East Coast. Essentially, obviously, I think everybody's aware now at this time Russia indeed is attacking Ukraine now. It's a mess. Look at this photo here. Countless Ukrainian citizens and residents head out of Kyiv to the west, hoping to find safety as Russia's invasion of Ukraine continues. Look at that.
That looked like a normal day in New York. That normal day of traffic in New York City.
I mean, what a mess. So seeing this here, essentially, Russian tours are reportedly in the Ukrainian city. This Ukrainian city spot their armor, the letter Z. Last night, pro-Russian Telegram channels called the Ukraine invasion as Operation Z. So, yeah, and we've gotten confirmed reports out of big news sources as well that essentially, Russia has entered into many various places. Let's just put it that way, okay? Breaking, look at this, huge explosion. This was 11 minutes ago. Huge explosion reportedly claimed to have occurred at a military depot. We've seen several of those over the past, let's call it 2 or 3 hours now. And, these explosions are massive. Look at this. This is some of the aftermath. Because now it is morning there. Essentially, a lot of these attacks were when it was still dark. So now some of the, we can actually see some of this, what's going on. Headquarters of an unspecified unit of armed forces of Ukraine in Kyiv. I can never pronounce the words right. I apologize. After Russian strike, I mean, look at that. I mean, it's bad, right? Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a military operation in Ukraine and warned other countries that any attempt to intervene with Russia action will lead to, quote, consequences that have never been seen.
Oh, man. Let's get off. Let me see.
Just a direct threat, essentially. That's a direct threat to anybody in the world who wants to even try to...
So here's my thoughts. The United States, we spend billions, 800 billion a year on all of this equipment and stuff. And I just don't get it. Like, we got all of this stuff that we're buying and we're not going to use it. And I'm not saying I'm an advocate for war, but if I'm spending this kind of money on the military, like when I close, we spend all this money on the military. So when it's time where I need my point to get across, like it needs to get across. And if that means giving away some of this stuff to allies, if you don't want to go to war, giving this stuff away to some of these allies, like let your point get across. Don't spend all of this money on weapons and have the most weapons in the world. And when it's time for some conflicts, people aren't doing what you say. It just don't make sense to me. Like, and I'm not saying that Russia would be a pushover, but damn, if I say like, if we trying to keep peace and you don't want to keep peace, then we got action. Pretty much what I'm saying.
To put their hands in this, right? It's an ugly situation. I got a lot of folks that are looking for, leaders around the world to maybe step up, but it's like, well, what do you want them to do exactly? And a lot of people are very, quiet about what do you want this person to do? What do you want this person to do, right? Do you want to go to straight up war with Russia? Is that what you want? So.
I'm not saying go to war, but I mean, send a message and let it be heard loud and clear. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, you gonna send troops in there to keep the peace? I mean, that's cool too. Like, and if you put your hands on the United States, it's gonna be trouble.
I think it's very easy to point fingers at time moments like this, and but the question is what would you do if you were put in the shoes in this situation, right? Now, Taiwan is the second leading trending subject on Twitter right now.
Interesting.
If you didn't know, there's a lot of drama between potentially China, Taiwan, and if China wants to just flat out take over Taiwan. So this is a whole other situation. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole, but nonetheless, remember, when you're in a fear time, and it's not just in the stock market, when you're in a fear time in general, the thought process just goes to everything's worst case scenario, right? I saw, World War III, WW3 was trending on Twitter. That's just how it is in these sorts of times. I mean, everybody's going to take it to the most extreme, and we have to just see what is real, what's really going to happen here, but it's ugly, okay? So let's get to the markets now. You know, it's going to be a rough one, likely tomorrow. Dow's already down 764 points. Keep in mind, it's about 1:30, a little past 1:30 a.m. where I'm recording at. So market opens here in about 6 hours. So still a long time before the market opens, but it's looking rough. Dow futures down 764. S&P 500 obviously down big. NASDAQ should be 12,000 something tomorrow. I don't know why they got 13.1. It should be, 12,000 something will be the NASDAQ essentially tomorrow. Let me just answer this. I know there's a lot of people that are wondering, what am I doing tomorrow? Am I buying? Am I selling? I'm not doing either tomorrow. I'm just holding. I'm not planning on buying any stocks or selling any stocks tomorrow. My plan is just to hold, and see what happens, see how this whole situation shakes out. It's obviously a really
I really do want to buy, but it could get lower. But I'm really like, if I really want to, I might buy something today.
Volatile situation right now, and it's definitely something that is going to shake up the world, at least for the short term. Now let's hope things don't get much worse, because in this sort of situation things could get massively worse. So let's hope for the best, prepare for the worst. So as far as me in any of my investments go, I'm not selling anything tomorrow. I'm not buying anything. I'm just a holder through a dramatic situation like this, which is definitely a dramatic situation, right? Oil is going crazy as if it wasn't going crazy enough, right? Which means essentially get ready to pay up at the pump even more over the coming months. Just across the board, 5%, 6% type moves. Natural gas, 6.5% there. Brent, about 6% move there. WTI is about 5.6%. So oil jumping. Obviously, I think everybody that understands anything about the economy, oil going up and up and up is not good, because let's be honest, like most people still drive gas cars, right? That take gasoline, and so if you got to pay more at the pump, that's less money you could spend other places. So that's just not a good thing. That's just, at the end of the day, it's just not a good thing. And then transportation in general, think about truckers, how everything's transported. I mean, this is just not good. Natural gas, gas is so widely used in so many homes around the world, and especially in developed countries. So natural gas goes up, heating costs goes up. It's just it's just bad. That's all you can say about that. None of that's good, unless maybe you dig for oil or something like that, or frack for oil. Outside of that, it's not really good for almost anybody. Might be good if you're a country that is very is a huge producer of fossil fuels.
Russia.
Okay, I wonder what country that is.
So with Russia doing all of this, though, it's going to cause more, like, if Russia is mainly known for oil, they're going to have to figure out something else, because this invasion, or whatever we're calling it, is going to cause other countries to find their oil elsewhere. So he basically shot himself in the foot when he did this.
Look it up. Gold jumping to its highest level in more than a year as Russia invades Ukraine. This is a big move for gold. I know it's 1.8%. That seems like nothing, but for gold, that's actually a big move there. Gold, a lot of people like to flock to safety or they feel like they're flocking to safety in a volatile time like this, so they buy gold. And so that's why gold's up 1.8%. Silver is actually making a bigger move up there, about 2.5% there. That's just what happens in this sort of market where people get scared. Some people like to flock to gold. They'll put their cash in gold, essentially. And I'm not going to say it's right or wrong. It's just what some people like to do, okay? European markets are all down big. The FTSE's down 2.7%. The CAC's down 3.5%. Rough for the European markets. And, I think it's a much more serious situation in regards to Europe than actually the States. So I'm not surprised that their markets would get it even worse than our markets, to be honest. The Russian ruble plummets to record low against the dollar as Putin attacks Ukraine. So that's a whole situation. This is such a, when you get a situation like this, it's such a, creates such a mess in so many different ways. It creates a mess in the stock market. It creates a mess in commodities market. It creates a mess in foreign exchange. Oh my gosh. I mean, it just creates a mess everywhere. That's why, really, and nothing really good comes out of situations like this, because all it does is create more volatility in more messy situations across everything. It goes so much bigger than that. Now, the question is in regards to tomorrow's market. All right, obviously, market down is going to be likely down huge. Does the plunge protection team come in? Now, I don't even know if there's a rabbit hole I want to get into. The plunge protection team is kind of a real thing, and it's kind of a conspiracy theory all at the same time. There's like truth to it, but then there's also like this unknown of what the plunge protection team does. And if you look back, basically at the end of December of 2018, we had a horrible market. We were on pace for the worst December ever. And then the plunge protection team was called in to basically try to look at the situation. And next thing you know, very shortly after that, the market bottomed and we started going up again. And, in that situation, what happened? The Treasury Department said on Sunday, the working group, which is AKA the plunge protection team, will discuss coordination efforts to assure normal market operations. So the question is, does something like that happen on a day like tomorrow? Because do think about it, right? I think, Ronald Reagan set this up back in the day, and they're used from time to time. And I think there's a few reasons why they're used. And I think, once again, this is a controversial subject. And there's a lot of people that absolutely believe the plunge protection team is a major reason why the market doesn't drop significantly. Ronald Reagan set this up after the 87 crash, where the market just absolutely tanked through the floor, essentially. And a lot of times, politicians especially, or the government, they are like, what is going on in the market? Like, why does the market keep dropping? And think about it from the context of this, right? Imagine a country invades another country, right? And all of a sudden, oil market goes crazy, stock market tanks, and your companies lose hundreds of billions of dollars, or maybe even potentially trillions of dollars. Well, now that just became something that is directly affecting you. So now that country just put a hurt on you, even though they didn't actually directly attack you, right? And so do you want to give them the credit for essentially tanking your stock market, right? Because that makes you almost look weak, and that makes countries almost think, hey, maybe we can do this more often, right? And so you're almost like incentivized to do whatever you can so the market doesn't go down huge, so it doesn't look as like, wow, that country really just caused a bunch of economic damage. Because with this Russia situation, for instance, they've obviously caused a lot of damage to the stock market. There's no doubt about that. We were already in a tough market with the wall of worry of inflation and the Fed and all the stuff we got going on. And then this Russia situation just added, more fuel to the fire. Or maybe they weren't more fuel to the fire. Maybe they were just, a few matches into the gasoline, essentially, right? So we'll see what happens with that. You can do your own research on the plunge protection team at your own will there. I'll just leave that situation where it's at, okay? Now, one thing we know, the plunge protection team is not there to...
That's interesting, too, because I think they came out in 2020 when this market first crashed. It's pretty interesting.
Save the day of is cryptocurrencies. Ethereum's down over 12%. Bitcoin's down about 7.5% as of right now. ADA is down massively. Just about every single crypto out there is just down huge right now. And the tough thing with the crypto market is there's really no one there to save the day. And that's kind of the risk of investing in crypto. So it's going to be a very, very busy next few days for me. I can tell you that much. A lot going on out there. And there's so much going on. Like I said, with me personally in the market, tomorrow I won't be buying, I won't be selling, I won't be literally doing anything. I'll just be kind of, just watching everything, keeping up with everything that's going on. And then I'll make decisions after that. But there's so much going on right now that, even for me, I'm like, I'll hold right now. And we'll see what kind of transpires here. Maybe get back to buying on Friday or this upcoming week. Okay. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this as always. Much love. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and have a great day.
Hey everyone, me Kevin.
All right, guys, I'm gonna leave it at that. Learned a lot, pretty interesting. Y'all be cool.